Hey guys, welcome back to Home Built, and this week we're going to continue to work on the front end of the Alfarrari. Well, as you guys might have seen, last week I got stuck into building a custom grille for the Alfarrari. So these brass pieces I made up, and I am going to eventually go and get them chromed. But obviously I am not finished. A bunch of people obviously didn't hear me in the video when I said I was putting mesh in this and thought I was leaving it open. That would just be weird. That is definitely not done, but before we get on to finishing up these pieces, I thought we might start going over and tackling the other side over here. So those of you who missed the start of this last week, I'll put a link up above so you can catch up. And think about subscribing, it does help us out. So first things first, today, I think I'm going to get in and start making a cardboard template for these little sort of in-between pieces over here, and then we'll start moving towards doing something similar to what we did last week on the center sections. All right, that was a lot of work, but I've made my two extra little frames up, and these guys go into these locations either side. So the location is good, so now it's time to start working on some mounts so that they can actually be secured into place. All right, we need a little bit more adjustment, but there's adjustment in this, but the mounts are all done, and this side is all mounted up. So now we need to move over to the other side and get that one ready to go. All right, so now I have my basic shapes here. I just want to tweak them a bit. I want to get them just right, and they're okay, but they're not good enough. For starters, this top edge of this bar here, it curves slightly and it's a little bit high on this end. I want to just trim this and bring this down just a little bit to just get it in the right spot. And this one over here is also is up a little bit higher than what I want over here. And this curved edge is a little bit tight. I might be able to just sort of move things a bit for that, but just want to tweak them now while I can, and then we can finish them up. Well, it probably doesn't look like I've done anything, but that was several hours of going backwards and forwards and just trimming and basically cutting apart my brazers and just tweaking the shapes until I've got everything sitting nice. I've got nice gaps where I want them. Everything is basically the way I want it now. It's sitting the way I want it. So now it's time to take them off and start tidying up and get them all nice and pretty and good enough to be able to chrome. So disassembly time. Yay! All right, that was a lot of time spent just touching up all of the brazing and sanding and just getting it nice. I went through all of them with, started with 180 grit and then started with the grinder to get it sort of reasonably flat, then 180 grit and then went back with 320 grit and got these things looking pretty reasonable. So now it's time to head over to the buff and just see if we can tidy up the rest of these scratches and see if we can get them looking a little bit shiny. All right, well, some of these came up fantastic. So nice and shiny there is. If we can catch it in the right light. There's a few little nicks and scrapes in some of these bits, but overall they came up really good. So I'm going to go back now and do a little bit more sanding and just get rid of some of the worst little bits that are left over, and then we can hit them at round 2 on the polisher, and it's looking good. I'm happy. All right, so I have all of these now. I've gone through and touched them up. They are not 100% perfect, but they are not too bad. I am happy enough with these for a handmade parts. Yeah, I think these things are really nice. So now I'm going to fit them back up to the car and see what it all looks like on the car. I am over the moon with this. I think they have come out better than I expected. I'm really happy with how neat and tidy these things are. I think they're going to be a fantastic addition to the car. Obviously, now I still need to finish them off. So the big issue I have is that I've been tossing up the way to finish these off. And I was originally planning to just use something like this, which is a titanium mesh that I can stick behind these, and that would look great. And it's still potentially the way I'd go. But I did start thinking about 3D printing something to actually sort of match in and make these sort of, yeah, just look a little bit different. And I could do some sort of hexagon type eggshell grill, similar to what the newer GTAs and stuff have, but you know, in a sort of you know, a classic enough style that will fit in. The trouble is my 3D printer is not big enough. My 3D printer can do 220 by 220 millimeters, which is just bigger than this center. Now, you can cut and join pieces, but it's very hard if you're doing something that's sort of relatively delicate. There's, you know, if you want to mesh, it's very hard to join in the middle of the mesh somehow. And so I'm still not sure the way I'm going to go, but in any case, that is all the time I have this week. I know it doesn't really look like I got much done, but I spent a lot of time out here doing this stuff. And yeah, it's my first time doing chrome work, and it's just, yeah, it's really fantastic. I am very happy with the results. My first time TIG brazing, using that world-class TIG, and it's quite interesting. I got much better at it, obviously, with practice over the time. I found that you know, I had to use quite a lot of amps. I'm using about 70 amps, and I found I had to heat the area quite a lot first and just prepare it, and then melting the filler into the gap. That was the way I found it worked quite nicely. Whereas the trouble is it takes a lot to get to get the brass up to temperature, and then once it's there, it almost straight afterwards, there's a tiny little window where it's the right temperature, and then the whole brass just melts into a lump and you wreck the whole thing. So anyway, yeah, I'm very, very happy. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that and saw, you know, got something out of that. To make my own custom chrome parts, this is a game changer. All right, enough of me rambling. I think it's time for fun facts with Mrs. Jeff.
Hey guys, in 1956, Ferrari continued to improve its four-cylinder sports cars, and the replacement for the 500 Mondial was the 500 TR. The 500 TR shared the same 180 horsepower, 2-litre four-cylinder Lampredi engine as the 500 Mondial, but had an all-new chassis front end with front coil springs and only weighed 680 kilos. The rocket covers were painted red, making it the first car to bear the famous Testarossa name, which of course means redhead. The following year, Ferrari altered the car to meet the Annex C of the International Racing Code, making the 500 TRC. This was wider and longer, had a windscreen, wipers, passenger door, and a 120-litre fuel tank to meet the specs. Just two of the 500 TRCs are fitted with the larger 2.5-litre four-cylinder engine from the Formula One car, making the 625 LM, which was then ended in the 1956 24 Hours of Le Mans. It finished third behind a Jaguar D-Type and Stirling Moss in an Aston Martin DB 3S. This was despite being limited to 2.5 litres, as Ferrari had not sold enough to qualify as a production car.
All right, that's another one where it doesn't really seem like I've done that much. I mean, I started these grills last week, but that's a lot of polishing. Actually, it reminds me of my army days, but we didn't have a machine buff. We had to do it all by hand. And it was,
what were you buffing?
We had little brass buckles for our belts that had to be perfect. It was sort of part of the torment that they put you through to try and... Yeah, so you just spend hours and hours polishing these little brass pieces.
Good practice for now.
Yeah, that's it.
Who would have thought?
Anyway, I'm really happy with how they turned out. I'm still not sure what mesh I'm going to use. I might do a bit of playing around with some 3D printing, see if I can make some stuff that I can join together. But if not, the other mesh will look good. Probably I'll make the mesh black in behind it either way. Yeah, it's really, really coming along.
It's exciting to see it's got a face.
Yes, yes, yeah. And I'm really happy learning a new skill. It's been really fun, actually. I wasn't sure how this was going to go, and I'm really happy with the result. I think it looks good.
Great.
So,
all right.
All right.
Well, please like, subscribe if you haven't. Let Jeff know what you think. And if you want to follow the videos a day early without ads and help Jeff out on his polishing mission, Patreon.
Yes. And Facebook, Instagram, tips on what's coming up. So follow me there as well. All right, guys. See you next time.
And the replacement for the Mondial 500 was the 500 CT.
No. Not even close.
TR. Was the 500 CT.
TR.
Oh my God. Was the 500 CT.
TR.
Oh my God.
Where is CT coming from?
Was the 500 TR.
Yes.
The 500 TR shared 2 litre.
2.5 litre.
2.5 cylinder, 4 litre. 4 cylinder, 2.4. What the hell am I? 2.5 litre, 4 cylinder. Oh, Sterling Moss is a person.
Yes, Sterling Moss is a person.
Sorry, I thought you got and a Sterling Moss. So
no. Sterling Moss is a person.
The D-type and Moss Sterling.
Sterling Moss.
Aston Martin S5.
DB3S.
DB3S. D-type and Moss Sterling.
Sterling Moss.
DB-S5. DB35.
3S.
DB3S. It finished third behind an Aston Martin. It finished third. It finished third.
Come on. You're getting worse.
It finished. And Moss Sterling.
Sterling Moss.
It finished third behind. And Moss.
It's not that hard a sentence.
DB what? 3S.